This one is going to be about a doctor who thought it was appropriate to victim shame the patient. Hi, said patient. Yes, this is a story that's actually true about my life. I came across a story on Reddit about a doctor who was shaming patients for being overweight. And it brought back an experience that I had with a doctor who tried to victim shame me. That was just the beginning of her Audacity tour. So I'm going to skip the story I came across and I'm actually going to share mine. Now, for a little background to understand what I'm talking about, I was put in foster care when I was younger for physical, spicy, and mental abuse. I was also gang raped when I was 17. So let's move forward. A few months ago, decided that I needed to get a medical procedure that would be done by an OBGYN. Everybody knows all the fun we have with insurance now and oh, you need this referral and that referral. So it took months to even be able to get into a doctor. Now, after a few failed attempts, I finally went onto my insurance's website and went through the list to try and find a doctor. I found one. She was about an hour and a half away, but that was great. I prefer to have a female in that situation due to the fact of what my history had been. Well, I go in for the appointment, and just to be quite blatant, it was for ablation. Okay. So I went in for my appointment, and I knew something was off immediately as the doctor walked into the office. How did I know that? Because her picture was posted next to her name on my insurance's website. And this woman was no way, no how the same person. Not only did she change nationality, she changed height, everything about her. The only thing that was the same is they're both female. I was a little caught off guard and even asked her, are you sure you're Dr.? We'll call her Dr. Nuts and Bolts because she's got a few loose of both. And she said, yes. I said, interesting. And I pulled up my insurance website and showed her the picture. I said, this is who it says you're supposed to be. And she goes, oh, yeah, I put a white lady up there because nobody will choose me. So this gets them in the door. Red flag number one. And I should have gotten up and just walked out right then and there. But honestly, I was flabbergasted that somebody would even say that or do that. That was the least of her transgressions, sadly. So she asked why I'm there, and I said, well, I'm at an age and I've got some things going on that means I need to take care of my plumbing situation. Didn't really want to go down the path of full or partial hysterectomy. Ablation would have been the easiest thing. And she has not looked at me. She has not touched me in any way medically, not temperature, nothing. Okay. She's just sitting on her little stool. And she informs me that I am not a candidate for ablation. And I said, excuse me? And she said, you're not a candidate for ablation. How do you figure? And she says, oh, let me just ask some more questions. Okay, lady, ask more questions. So she starts going through my history, how many live births I've had, how many total pregnancies I've had, which, to be quite frank, I have had 2 live, 14 that didn't make it, no terminations. I've just had severe losses, had a lot of trouble with fertility thanks to Hashimoto thyroiditis. But I digress. So first she tells me as she's going through all this that she doesn't do ablation on anybody over the age of 35. So I was too old for it. First time I've ever heard anything like that. And so then I asked her, I said, well, if it's based off of my age, then what would be my options considering a partial or full? Because I knew some changes had to be made. This is when batshit crazy kicks off. So first she tells me how she does not perform partials or full hysterectomies on anybody unless it is a life-saving measure emergency. Excuse me, what? You're an OBGYN. That's literally what you studied to do. To which I asked her, because how can you go to a doctor that does this? This would be like me going to a car lot to buy a car and them telling me, oh yeah, we have lots of cars, but we don't sell them. I mean, it was insane. She proceeds to tell me that in her culture, going through menopause is a rite of passage that must be borne. I said, excuse me, ma'am, I came to see a doctor. I came for this. You went to school for this. You're actually getting paid by insurance companies to do this. What does that have to do with your personal life? Because honestly, what she chooses in her personal life is her own business, but that's not my business. Didn't need to know about it. So then she starts going down this diatribe about how it is a woman's rite of passage and that in her culture, they do not believe that you should ever shorten that. Well, lady, I'm not looking for a medical procedure to not feel menopause. It's because I have a medical condition that needs to be fixed. But I digress. Then she goes on to tell me how instead she wants to do an IED, one of the pregnancy implants. I said, ma'am, I can't get pregnant. We had to do IVF to even get our last child, and that was almost 13 years ago. My compartments don't work. They're broken, okay? Permanently broken. Why would I need birth control? Oh, and by the way, my tubes are tied. So it's not like that was going to do anything for me. And she just continues to talk over me. And I said, look, I need to understand this because, ma'am, your culture is your culture. And although respected has nothing to do with why I came in today. I came for this consultation. You're telling me you will not do an ablation unless I'm under the age of 35, and you won't do a full or partial hysterectomy because in your culture, a woman is supposed to bear that burden. Do what? No, 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 no. I'm sitting there trying to be calm. Well, then she goes back to my paperwork. And I'm not going to lie, there were some questions on the initial paperwork that should have had me getting up and leaving right off the bat because they were very inappropriate. Her HIPAA form literally had on there that you had to sign that they could take videos of everything, not only during procedures, but your actual appointments, your consultations and stuff like that, so that they could use it for marketing purposes. Excuse me? Yeah, go ahead. Tell me how I have to sign something that gives you permission to put my groceries on display for your advertising. Negative, Ghost Rider. But nuts and bolts, cuckoo choo. So I can kind of see where this happens. So, anyways, she goes back to the paperwork. She's looking at the number of miscarriages I had. And she asked, she goes, well, what caused all these? And I told her the truth. Due to the group grape when I was 17, part of what they did was multiple stabbings and left me there to perish. The stabbings caused a lot of scar tissue, things like that, which is what caused all my fertility issues that we knew of at the time because we did not know that I had Hashimoto's until I was in my 40s, that's what had caused it. After explaining to her the physical damage that had been done, she looks me straight in the face and said, so what did you do to deserve it? What? This bitch asked me what I did to deserve to be gang raped. She's an OBGYN, a female, telling me that because of her culture, I can't have a medical procedure I need to have done, and then tries to victim shame me for something I had no control over. And this is supposed to be a woman's doctor because I can promise you she will never see me again. Although, from what I've been told, because I absolutely reported her to the medical board, I reported her to my doctor to find out, my regular doctor, so I could find out what things I could do, the licensing board, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I can happily say that currently Nuts and Bolts is suspended from taking any patients from Blue Cross Blue Shield because they have suspended her. Why? For falsifying information. She purposely, not because of what she did to me, which really sucks because no doctor should be able to do this, but she got tagged because she put up a blonde hair, blue eyed white woman's face next to her name and license claiming that's who she is. Very much not who she is. Now, the medical board, they're doing some more digging and they actually care about what she said to me with the victim shaming on top of everything else. So all I can say is, hey, Nuts and Bolts, karma's a bitch just like you. And I hope it's smacking the shit out of you right now because in my culture, when you fuck around, you find out.